Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Village of Ortonville Council. It is May 21st, 2018. It is 7 p.m. in the evening. And if you will all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. Dan, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bow your heads, please. Almighty God, thank you for all the blessings that you have provided to this humble community. Tonight we simply ask that you continue to bless this council's dialogue and actions to the betterment of our entire community. We know that our financial resources are valuable, yet limited. May we always seek to use them wisely so that Ortonville can become the very best that it can become. In your name and to your glory, we humbly pray. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please, Liz.
Bryce? Here. Watsu?
Here.
Eshman?
Here.
Robinson?
Absent with those.
Skornica?
Also absent with those.
Sleva? Here. Wills?
Here. So we have an agenda in front of us. Any additions to the agenda?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented. Support.
Motion to approve the agenda by Councilman Eshman, supported by Councilman Butsu. Any questions, dialogue, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Agenda is approved. We have council minutes from two prior meetings in April. April 18 was the master plan stakeholders meeting. We'll take them one at a time, please. And then we also have the regular meeting of April 23rd, regular council meeting, that is.
So I'll make a motion. It's silly for me to make a motion. I wasn't there. So
I'll make it. I move that we accept the minutes of the April 18 meeting of this master plan stakeholders gathering on April 18.
Support.
We have a motion by Councilman Wills, supported by Councilman Butsu. Any questions on this particular motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
4 in favor, 1 nay. Now we have the minutes from the regularly scheduled council meeting of April 23rd, 2018.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting of April 23rd, 2018, as presented.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Bryce, supported by Councilman Fishman, to approve the minutes of the April 23rd regular council meeting. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. I was not there either, so we traded barbs. So that was passed 4-1. Acceptance disbursements items are the treasurer's report and the parks and recreation update. Disbursements, item 7. Disbursements in the amount of $18,553.60.
Make a motion to approve the disbursements report ending May 16, 2018, and pay the village's bills in the amount of $18,533.66, or 60 cents. $18,533.60.
53, right?
Well, it says 33.
Motion is
Which one's
60
right?
cents.
Which one's
53.
right? Okay. Then we'll change that to $18,553.60.
553.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Made 60 cents or 53?
60 cents.
That.
Support. So we have a motion by Councilman Price, supported by Councilman Eschman. Discussion, questions? I have one on item 23. Your abbreviation in the explanation column on the far right, this is the pre-time meaning pre-construction.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. And this being the final payment of that,
Of that portion.
of the engineering portion.
Correct.
This is the Cedar Schoolhouse repaving project, right? Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call, please. Liz?
Butsu,
Yes.
Eschman,
Yes.
Sleva,
Yes.
Wills,
Yes.
Bryce,
Yes?
Motion is passed unanimously. Bills are paid. Item 8 on our agenda is public comment on agenda items. These are agenda items only at this stage in our agenda. Any public comment questions? Seeing none, hearing none. Move on to new business. Item 9A is we have mental health awareness resolution presentation. We have with us tonight Debbie Wisser of the Oakland County Health Network. And you're here to accept our village proclamation resolution in support of mental health awareness month. Do you want to say anything, any comments, or I'll read the resolution if you like. Okay. Tell you what, why don't I meet you up there at the podium?
Sure.
Okay. Mental Health Awareness Month, May 2018, resolution number 2018-0423. Whereas mental health is important for our individual well-being and vitality, as well as that of our families, communities, and businesses. And whereas 1 in 5 Americans experiences a mental health illness that requires treatment at some point in their lives, and whereas 1 in 10 children has a serious emotional disturbance that, if left untreated, can lead to school failure, physical illness, substance abuse, jail, and even suicide. And whereas May 10th has been designated the National Children's Mental Health Awareness Day, and whereas stigma and stereotypes associated with mental health illness often keep people from seeking treatment that could otherwise improve their quality of life. And whereas mental illness is a biologically based brain disorder that cannot be overcome through willpower and is not related to a deficit, defect in a person's character or intelligence. And whereas mental health recovery is a journey of healing and transformation, enabling people with mental health issues to live in a community of his or her choice while striving to achieve his or her full potential. And whereas mental health recovery not only benefits individuals with mental health disorders by focusing on their abilities to live, work, learn, and fully participate and contribute to our society, but also enriches the culture of our community life. And whereas the Oakland Community Health Network, OCHN, and its service provider agencies are committed to inspiring hope, encouraging people, and strengthening communities. Now therefore be it resolved that Oakland County Health Network and the Village of Ortonville hereby recognizes May 2018 as Mental Health Month. OCHN calls upon our citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to recommit our state to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health issues, illness, and the need to appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental illness to promote recovery. This is authorized and signed by the Village of Ortonville Council. It was unanimous, and this resolution is approved and adopted on April 24, 2018. So we appreciate your work. Do you want to say anything to council at all?
We just want to thank, on behalf of Oakland Community Health Network, we want to thank you for this proclamation and to help promote awareness of mental illness.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. New business item 9B is the Main Street Oakland County accreditation presentation to our DDA. We have with us tonight two guests. Dr. Timothy Meyer, who's the Deputy County Executive for Oakland County, and also John Bry, who's our Program Director or Coordinator of Main Street Oakland County. And so, gentlemen, step up to the podium and tell us which one is which.
Well, I'm John Bry, the program coordinator. When I came through the door, Matt said, "Where have you been?" I said, "I was out front." He goes, "No, the red face." Well, I am still the official county historian appointed by the state of Indiana for my home county in Indiana. So I was down over the weekend leading historic tours for an event for our Main Street program in Auburn. And apparently I forget how fair-skinned I am, and when I'm in the sun for 5 hours, this is what you get. So I apologize. Well, thank you for hosting us tonight and giving us some time on your agenda. We're pleased to be here tonight to recognize the DDA for their annual accreditation with the National Main Street Center in Main Street, Oakland County. This is a process that we do with the Main Street programs in the county every year. For the past 2 years, the evaluator that has visited you is Tom Guzman from California. Tom is now retired, but for over 25 years, he was my counterpart for the entire state of Iowa. So he worked for Main Street programs, even in smaller in population than Ortonville, and much larger too. So Tom is highly respected in the Main Street world across the country. So just a little bit of quick background of what we look for in this accreditation process. Every community in the Main Street program, and there are now 25. We grew by 2 more communities earlier this month in the program. So there are 25 communities now in Main Street, Oakland County.
And the ones that we do the accreditation evaluation process on, we look at 10 points, and this is what Tom reviewed. So just in brief, we look for broad-based community support, because we know that's what helps Main Street programs successful. Vision and mission statements, which the DDA currently has, and they were up to par. Comprehensive work plan, and we have to say, out of some of the communities that we evaluated around the county, Ortonville has actually a very good work plan that they're doing some great progress on. Historic preservation, because the whole Main Street program 40 years ago was created out of historic preservation ethic, and you certainly have that with trying to preserve some of your historic buildings here in the downtown district. Active board and committees, and it's been my pleasure since the 1.5 years I've been with the county to see a growing enthusiasm for the Ortonville Main Street program with its board and committees. By far, when we do the evaluations, Ortonville has been a community that really has turned down its volunteers for the process, that we get to meet them. An adequate operating budget. Of course, I don't think there's any Main Street program in Oakland County that says they have enough money. They can always use more, but you have an adequate operating budget. You have a paid professional executive director in Matt, and it's been a pleasure working with Matt for the last 1.5 years. I think he is by far one of the most dedicated individuals I've seen to this Main Street community in Oakland County, so congratulations on having Matt. Program of ongoing training. We've brought some training to Ortonville here recently over the last year through the National Main Street Center. We're hoping to work with the DDA, the Main Street program, and Matt to continue to bring some resources straight to you. It's one of my commitments as the program coordinator that I want us to be out more in the communities. You don't have to call or wait for us to come to town. You can call us at any time, and so hopefully we're going to be more proactive in seeing you in the future in the community. And lastly, reporting key statistics. We ask all of our communities to record key statistics about the health of their downtown districts, which we at the county and across the country recognize having vital downtowns are very important to our economic health and just the quality of life overall for our communities and our citizens. And so we ask just to track how things are going in your community, and Ortonville reports those statistics for us. And lastly, that you maintain membership in the National Main Street American Network, which Ortonville does. So with that, I'm going to let Dr. Meyer say a few words, and we'd like to invite the folks that are present here tonight with the Main Street Program and DDA to receive their accreditation.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much, and first of all, good evening, Council. I oftentimes have a chance to represent Mr. Patterson and Oakland County in a number of events, and I see these events very special. Personally, I grew up on a farm. I'm a farm kid. The town closest to me was 256 people, so I get the value of a small community. How a small community works, how they strive towards excellence, and it is all personal. And I think that that's the virtue and the value of really Ortonville and how they put their effort together towards the stewardship of their resources and their future. It speaks to your leadership. I think really if you take a look at accreditation, especially for Main Street Oakland, it is pretty high standard. You serve to feel proud about what you've been able to attain. Know that there's only 5 communities that have received the level of accreditation consecutively like you have. You're the northernmost community. Other communities are Ferndale, Farmington, Lake Orion, Rochester. So you have the distinction of actually being the star of the north, if you will, and being able to look at what you've been able to do as far as the leadership and stewardship towards the resources you have in your community. So on behalf of Mr. Patterson, and behalf of Oakland County, I really congratulate you on your achievements and recognition through this accreditation process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, and anyone else that's here from the DDA and Main Street program?
No, you.
Sorry.
I didn't know we were going to bookend this or what.
And that would be good.
Yeah. So, congratulations on behalf of the National Main Street Center, Main Street Oakland County. Congratulations on achieving your accreditation for the 12th year running. So,
Perfect, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks again.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
We can get them in wallet size too. And I don't know if you knew it, but at the main event this last couple weeks ago in Pontiac, Ortonville was very well represented, and they took home 2 of the awards. out of all the Main Street communities across the county. So congratulations.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evening.
All right.
All right.
Under new business continued, we have item 9C, which is the budget. We have to finalize our schedule for public hearings, etc. And as part of our budgetary process, which has to be completed by June 30th, officially. So we have to make a motion for that public hearing.
I'll make a motion to approve the scheduling of the public hearing on June 11, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Brandon Township offices, or as thereafter, as many, as may be heard regarding fiscal year 2018 through 2019 for the Village of Ortonville budget.
Support. I need to understand the
We have a motion by Councilman Eschman and supported by Councilman Butsu to set our public hearing on June 11th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Brandon Township Board offices.
And, for discussion. So I always think this is backwards a little bit. So typically, we have our workshops, right? We review the budgets, and then you have a public hearing to review what's decided. I don't understand why the public hearings set before we have a chance to do our own workshops.
No, we want to, if the next motion is, we want
Right.
to set a workshop for the 30th.
Oh, so prior to.
So
All
it's
right,
prior
got it.
to
It's just
30th of
Just the way
May.
it's lined up. then.
No,
All right.
30th of May.
Got it.
30 or 31st,
Yep.
your pick.
All right. No, thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now the second part. You want to make that motion?
Suggested motion to approve setting a workshop on May 30th or 31st, 6 p.m. at the Village of Ortonville office for discussion of the 2018-2019 fiscal year budget for the Village of Ortonville.
I'll support that motion. So I have a motion by Councilman Sleva, supported by Councilman Wills. Any further discussion?
What day did you
Ah.
select?
They didn't.
We did.
A couple of suggestions. Personnel has a meeting May 30th, and if possible, 7 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. For any,
So for either date, you want it at 7 p.m.?
if possible, yes.
Or-
I mean, if,
or
I don't know
are you
what everybody
saying
else's
that because of the
schedule.
personnel meeting,
No,
we-
personnel has a meeting on May 30th at 7 p.m.
Uh,
But we could do May 31st at 7 p.m. if that's better for other people. I'm not making the only
Yeah, the
decision.
Thursday's gonna be tough for me.
Which one is which?
The 31st, I believe, is a Thursday.
Yes, because we're meeting Wednesday.
Okay, so we could do it, could we do it prior to the personnel meeting?
Well, I'm thinking we could, I guess, schedule a meeting if Wednesday's not anything. Because we know that Colleen, Dan, and I could all make Wednesday. Because
That we
have
can
a
do it
meeting.
afterwards. I mean, it depends on how long
Right.
night you want to put in.
So if that's, yeah, if that's the hinging factor and you can't make Thursday, let's do
Yeah.
Wednesday.
All right.
If that's good for everybody else.
So the motion is being put forth and amended, I would presume, right, Karen? You're indicating that, and I would
did-
second whatever we decide.
I did indicate 2 dates, the 30th or the 31st, so what are we deciding then?
We're saying Wednesday.
Is it good for,
The 30th?
right?
I mean, I don't care, it's fine with me.
I don't either care. so.
Remember?
We'll do it on the 30th at what time?
7.
7, okay.
Okay, let me reread it then with the 30th in there?
Please, yes.
To approve setting a workshop on May 30th, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., at 7 p.m. at the Village of Ortonville office for discussion of the 2018-2019 fiscal year budget for the Village of Ortonville.
I will support that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of May 30th, 7 PM for a budgetary workshop.
Aye.
Aye. Everybody voted, okay. That motion is carried. So the 30th at 7 PM, all are welcome, community's welcome, and that'll be, at that particular day, will be at the Village of Ortonville Conference offices. So make that distinction. Whereas the public hearing, that we just talked about a second ago on June 11, will be at the Township Board office, which is where we typically. Okay. Moving along then, item 9D, the election notification. It is what it is.
It's in the paper, it's in Saturday's paper, so.
Okay. Final filing deadline for anyone interested is 4 PM on Tuesday, July 24. And any petitions for any of the 3 trustee positions and the village president position must be in the Brandon Township Clerk's office by 4 PM on the 24th. Unfinished business, item 10. I had a couple questions, but I guess the manager will be discussing those in the next item, so I don't know that we have any unfinished business that requires board action as such. So then we'll move on to the manager's report, item 11 on our agenda.
Hopefully I can run through these pretty quick. They're all items, and hopefully we'll close out most of them. The first one is last meeting we were at, asked to start taping, have OTV start taping DDA Planning Commission meetings. They have started. First Planning Commission meeting was taped. They were supposed to be there this morning for the DDA meeting. We didn't have a quorum, but they didn't show up also, so I need to find out from Greg why they did not show up at the meeting to tape it this morning, so.
So that was fortuitous. It was fortuitous that there was no quorum then.
Correct. Or we would have been talking about something else.
And
Any questions on that? The dumpster letters have all gone out to all business owners in the community. We sent it across the board to everybody.
what kind of rough results are you getting?
72 letters went out as of 5/16. We'd heard from about 28 property owners. Some of those didn't have dumpsters, which was kind of good when they called and said, well, it's good information, so if you go to put a dumpster in, you'll know what to do, you know. So, and many of them, I've been out to their businesses. It's really has helped because it gave me an opportunity to meet several people that I hadn't met yet in the community, and working with them to get, so far, we only have an issue with a couple people that I'll have to work through, and if I need your help, I'll make sure I give you a holler. But I'm pleased to announce that the DPW dumpster that was in violation is now in compliance, and the dumpster behind city or village hall that we share with Mabelina's was also not in compliance. And that now has 3 sides, and we're finishing up the gate probably this week, and that will be in compliance also. So,
Good. So we have our own house in order.
yes, we have our own house in order.
What kind of a timeline are we looking for? Did we put a time limit on?
We had not put a time limit
As
on it.
such.
We said that we expected them to notify us within, I believe, 60 days from the time they received the note. And vast majority of those folks obviously are, or, you know, getting a hold of us and that. You obviously want to have the situation rectified before the snow flies next year and the ground gets frozen to where you can't work on it, so.
What was the date of the letter, so we know when to
Oh,
diary this?
Well, they went out,
5/16?
No, as of,
no, they went
No.
out the week of the last meeting, they went out that week.
4/24.
I think
So
so.
24 plus 68.
Yeah.
For completion or just?
No, that's for
Response.
response. Response with a plan.
Has there been any businesses that just said, heck with you guys and we'll do it?
There's one that we're working through the issues on, let's put it that way. So I think we'll be able to work through, but nobody has told me to.
You were telling me one of the most obvious ones is the most cooperative, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah. One of the ones that's very obvious is very cooperative, matter of fact, going above and beyond, so, you know.
See?
When it,
Very encouraging.
yeah, when it hits, we'll see what happens. So, any more questions on that one? DNR passport grant application, we've received notification from the DNR that all the information that we've needed to submit it, they have. Now it's simply a matter of them going through their process. We expect to probably have a visit from them sometime in June or July timeframe, and we'll go from there. When we get into the budget conversation, we did put in the quote negative side, or our share. You'll see in the budget, and the revenue for the grant is not in the budget right now. So obviously, if for some reason we don't get the grant, that money will back out. The expense, our match portion will back out of the budget. So, any questions?
No,
New tractor, expect to be delivered any day now. The issue with that was that we're actually getting a new model tractor. It was the first year for that model, so they had an issue with the company that supplies the cab that you see the guys have, the heated cab with the lights and all that stuff on it. There was an issue with delivery on they sold more than they thought they would initially. So they're a little back ordered on the cab, so we expect, I talked to the guy last week and he said he expects delivery of it this week. I was hoping today, because I was hoping to bring you a picture of it and close this one out. So we'll let you know as soon as that hits.
Do we need the tractor? I mean, would it be feasible to have it delivered without the cab and then have, we don't really need a cab at this point.
No, you don't really need the cab, but I'd like them to put the cab on it.
Well,
so
yeah,
that
could we take
make
it back to
sure
them and?
everything fits and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, we would take it back to them or whatever. They could. Do we need it right now?
Not, the only thing we're missing out on right now is it'd be nice to have it here in the next week or so, because all these trees that were flowering now are starting to drop their, it's snowing a different type of, it's snowing flowers right now downtown, so it'd be nice to have the broom there that we could go down the sidewalk and kind of sweep up everything, but hopefully.
We don't need a snow blade then, right?
No, not right this minute, hopefully not. Shame on you for saying that.
So Bill, did you say that we're getting a new model tractor or a new model cab?
New model tractor, so that the cabs that they previously had didn't fit the new model tractor.
So which model, I mean, we say new model year?
Yeah, model year. Like the difference between 2017 and 2018. The water softener in the old mill is in. We also had said before that we're going to replace the sink and the toilet and the grab rails at the same time. And so we got the sink, but everything's done. Cedar Schoolhouse Street paving project, I sent out an email today. The original target was this is supposed to start right after Memorial Day, and you got the communication that they had an MDOT project that pushed our supplier back about a month. MDOT held them up on the current project that they're on. This is that's not a problem for us. You know, it actually kind of works out better talking to Fred, because the month of May and early June is when all the teams are practicing before they start their schedules and that. And so they're actually using the fields more in the daytime when the guys would be working. You know, so pushing this back doesn't hurt us any. In fact, we could get it, when we originally looked at this, one of the things that I proposed was trying to get it done in August, when baseball season was over. So if they push it back to August, it'd be better yet, but they didn't want us to fall off the map or not get scheduled or whatever, so, but they're still coming. So we're just waiting. I don't know if you have any questions on that. I've sent out, since we last got together, I've sent out at least 4 blight warning letters via certified mail to different residents in the village. If anybody has any questions in those, just give me a call and I'll share the information with them. And I'd say we have good compliance on probably three out of the 4 that we sent out. The 4th one, I take that back. We have very good compliance of 2 of the 4. 3rd one has made some headway. The 4th one hasn't done anything, and we may have to kick that one up a little bit because, and it's odd because the 4th one that I'll share for you off air actually was the easiest to comply with. So the one that's the easiest to comply with is the one that's made the least amount of movement, you know. It's kind of counterintuitive.
Okay.
You have in your packet a new report that we're going to start issuing to you in the acceptance items. Just to kind of update you, it's going to be our year-to-date permit summary. And this graph here, what it shows you is just kind of a breakdown of what permits we've issued so far this calendar year, and how much revenue those have brought in. In addition, what we want to do is start highlighting things for you over on the right-hand side on this chart. So we'll show you that, like we've got a new house being built on the corner of James and Ball. We got several new businesses that we're either working with or have started up. Impact North got its certificate of occupancy. It's the Little Things, I believe, has their didn't need a CO, but we went through the process of helping them, checking them out. Flo's Place, if you don't know, is a alteration and dry cleaner drop-off. It's not a dry cleaner, but you can take your dry cleaning there and drop it off, and then they'll take it to the plant and do the dry cleaning and bring it back to the store, and you can pick it up there.
And they're across from the fire department.
They're right across from the fire department. I believe there used to be a church in there, right, or thereabouts?
And tuxedo.
And they are running tuxedos too, so. And then last but not least, hopefully this happens, but when the old phone store down in Tom's Market, they're putting in a doggy daycare, which be kind of exciting. They're not going to be doing dog washing or veterinarian stuff or any of that. It's strictly doggy daycare. So they'll drop off the dogs there, when they go to work and play with other dogs and that kind of stuff. It's kind of a neat business, and
It's a great idea.
it's a great idea, great location. I mean, couldn't ask for better. Traffic there and that. So.
That's the name of it, Doggy Daycare?
Well, she hasn't officially named it yet. She hasn't officially signed the lease, but she's been working with us a lot to check, because they're gonna modify the fencing behind Tom's and stuff, and do a little bit of investment, so she's got a little more room in that. So there's no residents like real close by or anything, so and it's only gonna operate till, what did she say, Liz, 9 o'clock at night or something like that?
I honestly don't remember how late she said it was.
It's not like there's no dogs overnight, there's no, so it's not a kennel or anything like that. It's truly a drop-off doggy daycare. So you'll start seeing this in the acceptance report. I just wanted to cover it today to make sure that you guys knew what that was.
So each one of these represents a permit then, so if
Yep.
there's, okay.
Yeah, so like building permit, like before building permits for $1,500 and some dollars, 4 certificate of occupancies and various breakdowns.
And that doesn't necessarily mean a permit has been issued yet, it just means that they have paid for the application.
Permit request or paid permit request? Does that be a better label for this? Is this gonna be the same procedure every month then?
Right. So for instance would be, you have 4 C of O applications at $200, but we've only issued 1 C of O so far this year.
Well, we figured it's just another way to keep everybody informed of what's going on, especially new businesses or new activity in the village.
So this is year-to-date, January to current, or what?
Yep.
So it's not fiscal year?
No, it's not fiscal year.
So January to, okay.
Calendar year too. We can convert it to, I mean, if you wanted to start in
Different label.
July, if you wanted to
Different
start in July and do it fiscal year, we can do that too, so.
Perhaps the title can be tweaked a little bit.
Okay.
It would fit, maybe fit our budget line items or
Yeah.
something that.
Yeah, we can do that, right?
Okay. She said yes.
Of course I can.
If there's no other questions on that, we move on to the survey of the Wildlife Preservation Park, and I talked to Mr. Smith today, he's dropping off the paperwork to me Wednesday. Hopefully, you see the stakes out there, we're gonna, when he comes, he ran into when I talked to him today, he ran into a difficult situation, I thought sure as heck it was gonna be north end, northeast corner or something. No, it was, he said it took him better part of a week on the south side down near the school. He said there's kind of a strange angle or something that he had to figure out, that he had to do a lot of research on and that, but he said he ran into no problem on the south end. He said I'll take care of it.
Good.
And all that.
We've been somewhat aware of that.
So,
Some of us on the board is, yeah. It's kind
Says
of like,
it's-
there's a couple parcels in there, a couple little chunks as to who really owned them. Were they part of the park, were they part of the school district property, or?
well, we should know now. He's supposedly got it all ironed out, and he's dropping off paperwork Wednesday, and
Even our local historian didn't know,
so
Mr. Bronson didn't
be interesting to see. I'm walking by, I'm gonna flag him in the first thing.
Yeah.
Say, hey, check this out,
know.
make sure we're okay, so.
Okay, good.
So that should be done. Audit recommendations, we're going through those, but I read through them quite extensively. I know Colleen asked about this the last meeting, and there are some that we'll just have to put some, that those audit recommendations are basically recommending, something that a big city would do in some respects. It's, like, you can't have the same person opening the mail that checks out a receipt, and we'll just have to put some controls in place like we currently have, of me double checking, or maybe you gotta have 2 people opening the mail at the same time or something. Put some policies in place, but short of going out and hiring 2 or 3 people extra, which we don't wanna do on a temporary basis, you just have to put some kind of controls in place where we double check. The other ones are strictly policy type things that I'm currently going through, and I'll draft up some policies regarding, one for an example is, what do you do if your computer records get lost? And we have a vendor that takes care of that for us, but A, we need to verify that in fact is being done, and what's their procedure, and what would you do in the event that happened, and just kind of lay it out a little better. So hopefully now that we're getting a few of these other things behind us, I'll be able to concentrate on putting out some policies and stuff. It shouldn't take a long time, but our goal told us to try to have most of these comments taken care of before the next audit, so. Or at least have controls in place.
Thank you.
So, chicken ordinance, the letters have gone out, and to the original folks that were involved way back when, I guess I've heard that maybe one of them is not. And I can update now, 3 people have picked up permit applications, so I need to go out and actually start measuring out and doing that. So I stole the little wheel from Bob here last Friday, and I'm gonna handle this on an administrative basis, so I'll be going out to the different chicken owners and that. We will be making, if we have not heard back from some of the folks that we knew originally were involved, we'll be making a contact again with them, you know, to make sure that, hey, we're not out headhunting or anything like that. We're out here just trying to get everybody in compliance and those kind of things, so we'll work through it with them. So we plan on having that done in short fashion, hopefully.
So are there any new permits? And so you said that letters gone out to original chicken owners. Have we had any families or
No,
residents that
not-
sought?
Not to our, no, nobody new has come in. The 3 folks that we've touched base with are all people who are on the list, for lack of a better term. Not the bad list either.
Originally, there were 6 or 8 that were
I
kind of.
think we said 8 originally.
Yeah.
There were 9 letters, 1 was blight, 8 were chickens.
Right.
Correct.
And do we have any idea how many are gonna go through the, or have applied through for the exemption? Through the, I think it's Michigan State University and the State of Michigan Department of Agriculture.
What we're hearing, and I've not been able to get anybody to confirm this, the fact that we have an ordinance dealing with the chicken issue ourselves here in the village, they have taken kind of a hands-off approach to it now that we have an ordinance, meaning that they're not going to issue exemptions. Nobody has told me this from that office, but I've heard that from some of the residents, that they've attempted to get the permit, and we're told by them that because we issued an ordinance, their hands are tied. So, until I confirm, can say that's a confirmed fact, though, it's hearsay still. So, any questions on it?
No.
Hearing
So
none?
Just from, you said you need to confirm, are you saying the residents that you were spoke to applied for it and it was rejected? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know that they've applied for it. I know that they have, a couple of them have told me that they have called and were told because we now have an ordinance that their hands are tied. Is what I was told, so I need to get a number of who they've talked. I've asked them to give me a phone number who you talked to so I can give them a call and.
Yeah, that would be interesting to touch base with, that authority.
Yeah. Any other questions on that? Quick update, I think you guys know most of the stuff on the master plan, but the tentative plan for the stakeholders meeting was sent out to everybody from, Mike Deeb sent me a copy. We sent out that to everybody, the kind of the outline of what they're gonna accomplish at that session. I've received a little bit of feedback, not much on that, so silence is consent.
What
I gotta be honest
stakeholders?
with you, past practice for me and this council is we don't do business via email, and we discuss it out in the open here, and I don't have time to do business on my emails after I get home, so I don't always read those emails in a timely manner. So to me, silence isn't consent, So really, if there are things out there and there's plans out there, then we ought to be discussing them openly, not via email, and I think that needs to be transparent out and open.
You're talking primarily setting a date, that's all.
Yeah.
So which date are they recommending?
So far, and that's one of the items on the list, I sent out one of those 2 dates, either June 27th or 28th. Most of the people that have responded have either said both are okay, but there hasn't been anybody that says they can't make it on the 28th so far of June. And that would be you don't have to be there the whole time, obviously, because they wanted to set it up for like 12 in noon to 8 o'clock. It's a walk-in thing, different presentations as people walk around and questions and get input, go through some similar things to what we've gone through already. And that way you can, because we stretched that out a little bit initially, someone had suggested 5 to 8, but the folks who work second shift are the folks who, they seem to get shut out all the time. So I've personally asked them to extend it from like 12 to 8, so that if, we've got people that can come down there at lunch if they want, or if they work in the area, or they can go before they go to work or after they go to work. So, and we have generated 3 different lists. We sent copies of those out to everybody. One is the voter registration for the village itself. So anybody who's a registered voter would get a card. Property owners' address list, so every single address, regardless of voter registration or whatever, goes to the address on record. And the last one was the stakeholder, and I'm uncomfortable really calling it that, but it's the list that we talked about of various people in the communities, different service organizations. I don't have the list right in front of me again, but I mean, it was, everybody wanted to input on, hey, these are the groups that we want to make sure get invited, and, folks from different, from the schools, from different places get a copy of the invitation. And today, I sent an email out of what the card actually would look like. It's like a 5x7 card that they would mail, saying, hey, we want your input.
In lieu of attending? The card?
No,
The invite.
no.
To remind, the
An invite to attend this, non-opportunity to attend this.
And then where's this plan?
The Old Town Hall.
So these organizations are what, service clubs, churches, scouts, any VFW, anybody? Or what?
Yeah, pretty much.
Residents?
Well, the residents are those 2 first lists that I talked about. We're blanketing the village proper. I don't know what other, we originally talked about using a tax bill list, but the problem with that is that your taxes, if you've got a mortgage, the tax bill goes to your lender, doesn't go to you. In most cases, if you have a mortgage. So I don't need a guy in Colorado servicing a mortgage getting 30 cards. So we went back and actually found, every single address in the village of Ortonville, and went and found every single voter registered in the village of Ortonville to send them one of these 5x7 cards inviting them to input on this stakeholder meeting.
So, to me, I think about the most recent meeting that the Brandon Township had, and they, okay, in this case, I don't know that they invited everybody, but a heck of a lot of people showed up, and there wasn't enough room, right? So here we know we invited over 100 people, right? I mean, and to fit them all in the Old Town Hall, I don't think.
Well, keep in mind, it's a moving type,
Yeah, it's like an open house.
it's an open house, so it's like
From noon till 8.
Majority of people I know in Ortonville work during the daytime, and yeah, there are a handful, but certainly a minority. Most people work during the days, with the minority working night shift. So, I'm just saying, it may not be big, that's all.
Well, if you're running that problem, it's a good problem to have, obviously, but what the township did, I was at that meeting, and I kind of helped be the doorman, and we basically, because this is a revolving meeting that we're talking about, as opposed to the township meeting, that was a set agenda beginning at 7 or whatever the time limit was. Because ours is a revolving door situation, we theoretically could literally have somebody at the door who would, if we were maxed out, when people walk through and they spend their few minutes, whatever they do, walking through, they could leave and then somebody else could be let in. That's what we did. We had a revolving door.
So how does a revolving door meeting work?
It's just an open house where they're gonna have static tables and presentations of different visuals, and you're just gonna walk through there, and you're gonna put any input, and they'll have a person at each station talk to the participants, and then they'll basically follow that participant through, and then they'll leave. And it's not gonna, I don't know, what do we think, how much time it's gonna take? I don't know.
Kind of like a trade show.
Yeah, it's like a trade show, walk through.
And if it's really hot, it'll be really uncomfortable, so people will be flying in and out. Depends.
What's the actual occupancy number?
Around 100.
Because, yeah, it's.
Because I'm wondering the library.
78 for ours.
60, it's 60.
And the library is
60.
more in
That's
information.
without tables.
It says maximum occupancy.
You can only have
60.
so many people in the room, no
Is
matter.
that what you asked? I'm sorry.
At the old town hall.
Yes, I was just there on Tuesday. It's 60.
And that's why I'm thinking the library is 92 and it's air conditioned. So that might be a place for people to be when they're waiting.
Well, we haven't sent out the invitations yet.
That's
so
just a
we
thought. I
have
don't know
to-
about date wise,
We'd
but
have to check.
that's.
I think parking is what would be more adequate than the library.
That's true.
That's true.
I was
The
just
other
thinking
part,
that
I
place
kind
to
of
wait.
thought, the other part, the reason why I kind of like the old town hall, for an example, people go in there, it's really hot, then we might spend some money for air conditioning, so we can use it more than.
And it is downtown.
We'll do that anyway. Okay?
And then the other part is, part of the criticism we receive are those people who are, if you look at the survey we sent out, there was a realization that those people who made less money had less of an or didn't participate as much. So part of trying to have it downtown in a walkable, accessible area is hopefully you access some of those folks too, to where it's a little closer than the library to walk to. And hopefully you get some walk-ins from those folks, but we can, we can check, that's good feedback. If you guys think we should offer up the suggestion, move it to the library.
I like the idea of the old town hall because it starts with the flavor of our community. You know, I like that a lot. And it's impossible to predict when people are going to be there. But Dan's right also. A lot of people work, but we also have a large contingent of seniors that.
And stay-at-home families, and
Yeah.
it's summer and people are out of school, and there's a lot of people that will be available during the day.
I think would probably be okay, Dan. Yeah.
Okay, and then, so with this revolving meeting, are we soliciting input from the attendees?
Yes, that's what it's all about.
And then how will we verify whether they're part of the invite list or outside the part of the invite list? So no different than a survey, not knowing who, you know, not being able to verify that. How will we confirm?
I'd like to have people sign in as they come in the door, and
Yeah.
that way you get check that against our thing. So if we decide to have, if we find that, in my opinion, then you compare that, we've got some real good, supposedly accurate list. Those people that show up, if we don't get the feedback we need, then you got a good list to say, okay, hey, you didn't show up at the last meeting.
So basically check them off, have the list,
Yeah.
invite list, and have them check in and check off the
We don't have every name of every group. Our church that is downtown, we don't have the name of every single member of the church.
Oh, no.
We don't have the name of everybody in the Alliance. I mean, that's not necessarily feasible.
But I think you can handwrite those in though, right?
Yeah.
So you have the majority on the list and the minority, you just handwrite it. That's not on the list.
On some of those stations, as I recall, they have stickies or whatever, like kind of what we did at the high school. But maybe townies or people that live in the village, could it all be green people, you know, a green sticker. And then anybody outside the village could be yellow or whatever. That'd be kind of simple. So if you sign in and you live on Church Street, you get green stickers to stick at your little stations. That may work a little bit better.
Live or own property or where, how are we going to designate? I can own the property, doesn't mean I live here. And still just
That's
as
true.
much, you know, I mean, it's so hard
Yeah, there's not
to
gonna be many of those, but.
differentiate.
I think,
They
yeah, I
have more of an
think,
interest.
I think we're still capturing the majority this way as opposed to the few that don't, you know, apply. But, I mean, it's a good idea.
This, the thing that I saw when I was looking at it online was that each of the topics had an actual icon, like a park. And if you want to have a thing up here concerned about a park, they had something that was designated as a park, a little sticker that looked like a park. Something to that, or a school or something, yeah. So not only could you change the color, but you actually have a little icon that was descriptive, rather than we only had a little circle,
Right.
which didn't mean a whole lot.
Well, I was just, my biggest concern is that I'm all for number one, the residents first. They're more critical than somebody out the road a little bit. So as long as they are represented well, and maybe with a bicolor coating something, I think that's important to me at least.
When will council know what each station's representing the revolving meeting? So, you know, there's a big part to the master plan. You're gonna cover the whole master plan in this revolving walk-through meeting? Or are we, what's gonna be presented? So, you know, will council, for example, be able to put something up
It
there?
was online in an email that showed all the stations.
Again, council
But you
should,
didn't-
the council we should be presenting that. Somebody from, you know, McKenna should be coming here and saying, here's how we're gonna run this meeting. Right now, I don't have a clue, and I'm asking these questions.
I happened to visit the website, and I went there, and it was all laid out. So,
Well, I would much rather him be at a meeting. We only have so many meetings we've paid for. I'd much rather have him be at a meeting with the results than to explain to us what we're going to do at a meeting, personally.
yeah.
I mean, I would much rather, I think it's way more valuable to have him at the meetings where we are talking about the master plan, not who we're inviting.
Wouldn't we want to know what's being thrown out in front of our residents as to what's going to be in the plan? So somebody has already decided what's going to be on those tables. I don't know what they're going to be, and I guess my point is, why wouldn't we have some input as to what, as council, because we're ultimately going to be approving that master plan, every one of us here.
And we received
Plus
that last
a
week or the
couple.
week
So
before.
I guess my point is, why wouldn't we be having, as council, having some thought process as to what's going to be on those tables?
Well, again, it's there, but if you haven't had a chance to read the email, it's there.
Again, we can't run this by, you expecting me to go home after this and spending an hour reading the emails. Running this town via emails and asking us to go home and read hours worth of emails is not right. Wayne, they should be here presenting it in front of us.
Well, every time the contract was so many presentations, and anything over that, we gotta pay. So if we have to pay, we have to pay. So you're wanting them here every month, every meeting?
I didn't say that, Wayne. I'm talking about the meeting, the upcoming stakeholder meeting, what's going to be in it, what's going to be on the tables. Will council have a choice as to what's on those tables? I think we should have some input what's going to be on those tables. We're ultimately going to be approving it.
Okay.
You mentioned that you were on the website looking. So if you could send us a link to that, an email and a link to that website, so, I could look too. Because I didn't know that there was, there was something on the website.
I was just,
that I
it
could
was
look
from
at.
what I got from Bill.
Yeah,
Craig.
down in the bottom of the email, it gives you links to look up
It
that
had
information.
six different stations, and each.
Yeah, I
station-
looked at those, but somehow, I just didn't see any kind of a link or anything.
Oh, I don't know
But I
about
looked
that,
at
but it
each-
was, I just opened up his email, and there it was.
I looked at each of those,
So I don't know.
6 different pictures.
Yeah, that's all it was. There was pictures of people looking at, and different topics of interest, whether you're interested in parks, whether you're interested in roads, whether you're interested, the icon for a sidewalk was a person walking. So if you're interested in sidewalks, you take that icon with somebody walking and you put it, the exercise is you take that icon as a sticker and you put it where you want a sidewalk. As an example. That's all.
So you talk about, McKenna doesn't need to be here. I mean, I assume the village is somewhere, the planning commission, whoever's, I would say administering McKenna to perform the master plan. Somebody from the planning commission should be here and say, here's what we plan on doing.
That's what I'm here for.
Okay, so what,
We
what's
haven't
this
got to that,
email?
items from the trustees,
So do you
I
have,
can
do
update,
you have what's
but
gonna be on the tables?
it was emailed to everybody. It was already sent. out.
Again, I guess that's my point for council that don't sit in front of the emails all day or all night.
Well, I'm concerned to send out 6 colored pictures to every single one of us and copy all of those off in all that paper. I'm personally not happy with it, that's me. But, I mean, I guess when it was sent out to us, what I would like to see, because it was, do you have any questions on that, let us know. That was sent to Bill and Mike, if you had any questions, it was to go to them. So I wasn't prepared with any questions because nothing was ever sent. So I can update, but I don't have answers to questions because nobody was contacted.
My point is a little bit, almost like when the survey went out. The survey was the driving force. That survey, even though there was a meeting, the survey was not brought forth to this council.
Exactly.
And that was not the way I anticipated it working. So rather than kind of being blindsided and not knowing what's going on, Dan does make a good point about what are gonna be on the tables. I mean, what are these, these different stations going to look like? And I think it's a fair question, what are going to be on the tables? Because somebody's gonna say, well, what are we gonna look at? I'm gonna say, at this point, I don't know.
Well, basically, I've already said it once, I'll say it again. There are little stickers, and you have a map, just like we did at the last meeting. There's maps of the community, and if you want a sidewalk, over here, you take the sidewalk icon, and you place it where you want a sidewalk, if you're Mr. Joe Q. Public. And that's part of the process. Now, I don't know how much more complicated it can be. I don't have a problem with it at all, and it's done all the time, so. But you want somebody, you want representation here, every step, before every step along the way. Is that what you want?
You know what, Wayne? I expect you to present it in front of us, because you seem to know what's gonna be on that table. So why aren't you presenting that in front of trustees? Why aren't you, you're making a mystery out of it.
I'm just talking
You're
about.
talking about yellow dots. Yellow dots on what, Wayne? I have no clue.
See,
My point is,
have
if
to
you know,
remember-
Wayne, why aren't you bringing it to council?
You have to remember,
I am
he
right
didn't
now.
go to the joint meeting.
I'm not even on the planning commission, but I'm telling you what I saw on their website. Or whatever Bill emailed me, and I don't know what the big deal is, quite frankly.
But you have to remember, Dan didn't go, trustee Eshman didn't go to the Kivas Center for that, for those, we had the DDA and the, village council, and we had the planning commission there. And we were placing yellow and green dots and this and that on maps and things. Okay.
Good point, he wasn't there.
Trustee
I was not able
Eshman
to.
was traveling.
Okay.
Okay, he was out of town. Also, trustee Robinson was out of town. So there's a gap there between what you're talking about, and it seems real concrete to you. And if somebody was you know, traveling out of town, you know, they're working, they're earning their living, and they weren't able to go, there's kind of a gap there.
Well, I
I
guess,
was also at work and unable to attend, but I did see all of the visuals that were included in the information that was given to us. But I was
well,
not
I
in
guess,
attendance, I was at work.
I guess the issue is when one is not able to attend a meeting, where is the onus of responsibility on that? Is it on the responsibility of the entire board to hear a presentation all over again that was done and was missed by one or two people? Is it our responsibility then for that person, because they weren't there, we have to spend our council time on that all over again? I mean, that's essentially what you're doing.
I think that, you know, and I went through the minutes for that meeting also, and there's nothing about the minutes, there's nothing about those minutes for that meeting that if you were not able to be there because you were traveling, because that's part of your job and you're earning a living, there's nothing about those minutes that would tell you what went on at that
I mean,
meeting,
that's-
or how it was done.
Well, here we go. This is a difference in philosophy in taking minutes. And I have been a proponent of detailed minutes. And this is contrary to the proper protocol that Liz and people like Courtney out there that have been told by the gurus that you're not supposed to have too much detail. Too much detail is not good. And I'm telling you, that's just the way it is. I have wanted more detail on lots of topics, and I have been squelched. Now, at the last time around, the meeting I missed, I went out of my way to find out what happened at that meeting. I went and I read and I asked and I did a lot of things to research and find out what I missed. I took that upon myself, and I think that any council member should be doing the same thing. If you're unable to make it because of work, that's fine, I understand the commitment, but then you, as a council person, have the responsibility to check it out.
Well,
I'm sorry, but that's just the way it should be.
Okay, I did try to cue these people in who had missed the meeting. It was, the meeting was scheduled when they were going to be traveling out of town, out of state. And, you know, I talked to them about the various discussion groups and what topics were discussed, okay? I didn't go into the mechanics of explaining, you know, you put a yellow dot here and a green dot there and the various three maps.
Okay.
You know, which I don't know, you know, that's kind of hard for me to explain. You know what I mean?
That would be hard for anybody to explain.
But I did explain, you know, that there were, you know, we were broken into discussion groups and what the topics were that we were discussing. I did the best job I could with it, but it's kind of technical when you're dealing with, you know, 3 different groups, and I think we had 4 different maps, and we had green dots, and we had blue pieces of paper, and yellow dots, and purple pieces of paper, and the nuts and bolts of it. And I think that's what people are not understanding. That's what Dan's probably not understanding.
I think the other part people aren't understanding is that this is all, what we're going through right now is like simply a data collecting stage. So it's not, nobody has put pen 1 to redoing the master plan. Nobody has done, you know, basically if I were, you know, as kind of an outsider looking, that the only thing that really has come out so far is there's been a focus from the joint leadership that these are the things that the joint leadership has said, has agreed that were good things to work on. Sidewalks, roads, drains, communication, and I'm probably missing one, but there's like 4 or 5 things that were, for lack of a better term, key joint strategies. You know, so part of what you'll see, I think, in this session is, you know, where, like someone said earlier, you know, we right now paid a whole bunch of money and we put in the budget that we'll be talking about, the old Marin Mall, Myron sidewalks. Because that was what, you know, previous either administrations or you folks had selected as, you know, what we thought was key to linking the biggies and that kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see in the sidewalk presentation that, you know, is this where the village wants you to focus? You know, do they agree with that? Does it confirm what most of the joint leadership has said? That's probably one of the key areas we should focus on first. You only got so much money, so you're only gonna do so many sidewalks every year, right?
Yeah. So,
Well-
we approved some disbursements today, and on one of the line items says we're 43.5% completed of the master plan. Does anybody know what that is?
Well, we know what we've done thus far. We've got a survey, we've had the joint meeting, and we've got another one coming up. There's a process that we were given by Mr. Dean that said all the way along each month what was gonna happen. It's in our historical records, it's in our information we've been given.
And the gold priorities form we filled out and then returned it. So it's a
So-
major part of.
Again, the only way we're gonna get it is through someone telling us through a meeting or a workshop or reading an email, and then you have to piece it all together. We paid a lot of money for master plan, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't believe I'm getting the information. There should be a timeline, okay, you pay that up. If we're 43.5% complete, then it's a timeline. You have all the items there, and we're complete, open. It's pretty clear. Right now, I don't know what's.
So you wanna see?
I have no clue what's.
You wanna see an Excel spreadsheet of each topic, each month, all the way along the line? Is that what you want to see?
Wayne, I don't care how you put it together. I'd like to know what 43.5% complete
They
is.
showed us that at the meeting, at the joint meeting.
I can.
I know, it was
Yeah,
shown to us.
that showed you.
Well, why wouldn't it be part of our minutes? Why do we have to sit there and ask for it, or dig through an email, or go into a website? We're gonna be asked as council to approve a master plan. And that's where I said, to me, it shouldn't be this fragmented. It should be upfront, council, here's where we're at today, we're 43.5% complete. What that means is we've done this, and this, and that's part of the plan's already complete, and here's what we got left open, and this roundtable session that's gonna happen is gonna take care of the rest of the info. I don't know, but I guess my point is, you should have, as council, we should have an idea of where we're at. We're approving money that is 43.5% complete, but I don't know what that means. I really don't.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I don't think I've heard it here yet, too. I don't think anybody else knows what it means.
Okay, well, we'll find out. So we have a meeting scheduled for the 27th or the 28th. Did we come to a conclusion yet?
28 good for everybody?
And what time?
That's the,
Well, that's the
12
that's the
day.
noon to 8? Or noon to 8?
Noon to 8.
Noon to 8. Okay.
I know the priority goals survey was sent to everybody in the planning commission, DDA, village, not everybody has responded, but
How many responses have you got? From our council? 2 out of 7?
3, I believe, right?
Okay, so you have a responsibility to respond.
Where do we go, Wayne?
I've
When was this
responded
announced
twice
and what-
so far.
Oh, by the way, we gotta go check our email because something came through because nobody told us? That's my point. Hey, here we go, we got the master plan, we should be going in our emails tonight and checking something that's expected. Why is it in our packet?
I don't know.
Because it was
I do,
given to us
because
on
it's not
April
transparent.
25th and the meeting was April 24th. So it was then given to us on April 25th after our meeting, before this meeting. So now we're getting to that point to verify that. Which I'm not to the trustee item yet to remind everybody to do it.
No,
You
you
keep
should,
jumping
you should,
ahead.
You should.
Well, that's my job, is to make sure that we are doing these things, but we're not down to 13 yet, we're still on 11.
I'm glad you did that one.
Well, I,
Trying.
we could do an agenda adjustment from here on out. We could have
We
the.
had trustees at the very
We
beginning.
did,
now
and now it's
at the
back here
end.
at the
We
end. I
don't
don't know
get
why
to
that
do
was
it.
ever moved, because I didn't.
Because Colleen wanted to move it, because she wanted to have everything done, that we weren't re-questioning things that were,
Well, so when do you want to know about the reports before they get dissected like we're doing at the moment? You want to know about the reports beforehand? I mean, that answers a lot of potential to your question.
Jeff, there's a handout. I
could
don't
we
see,
have
I don't
like a
see.
follow-up at the bottom, if there's something,
Township has it both.
that's what I mean, like just a follow-up, if there's anything like that comes up during that point, I can
Okay.
understand, to touch base.
Okay, we'll try to be more transparent in that regard then, because it's helpful if somebody, a subcommittee report's vital to the conversation. And it's,
So, I mean, for future references, move it under,
There were 2 spots.
Right.
So township does
excuse
trust,
me.
sorry, I'm sorry.
My
What's
understanding-
your understanding?
My understanding is they want it in 2 spots at the beginning, and then at the end, is there any follow-up or any questions?
Any additional,
Anything additional?
I don't understand what the beginning and the end is.
At the beginning of the
you
agenda.
have trustee reports early on in the agenda.
we
In other
used to
words,
have it right after disbursements or right after
Yeah,
public comment?
that's all.
Mhm.
Okay.
I mean, that's huge. If somebody doesn't have information and they want it and they need it, and it's very important to them, then I agree, they should have it early on in the agenda.
Because like then they would talk about the street projects already, that would be with streets, and it would be rec with rec, and the report for BGY, or recreation, all that would come up already. I think it would be nice to
Yeah.
ask questions before you,
So do you guys want to move it to the beginning again, or it's your meeting?
Absolutely, absolutely.
What do you say? Everybody?
I will control that agenda and I will move to the front of the agenda.
but I would like to see an additional, a great way to word it, additional items from trustees, or
Okay, that's fine.
something like that at the bottom.
That's fine. I agree.
Because things will come up in a meeting that will remind you
Absolutely.
forgot something, or.
And this is a good example of that, and I think that it needs to be fine tuned and adjusted. Because I understand Dan's concerns and, I think they need to be addressed, so. Okay, is that it, Bill? Anything else?
Skate park. They asked me to bring up the skate park. Obviously, it's been 2 years, so, I'm already been here a short time, and I'm tired of getting calls regarding coming back on Monday and getting calls from people saying people are trespassing on the skate park and violating. Fred was to have tore down or sold that equipment 2 years ago, and I told him he needs to get it tore down. He needs to get rid of it, so.
Or what? Or else? How? What?
They put up no trespassing signs on it, and I basically told them, call the police.
Yeah, but that's, the neighborhood's been doing that for a couple of years now anyway. So, are we gonna take action to our own hands? I mean,
Well, and I've offered the services.
send them a bill, send the township a bill for
Yeah.
dismantling?
Yeah. I've got a meeting with them tomorrow. I've got a meeting with them tomorrow. I'll offer our services for a price. They can't find anybody to tear it down, so.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Is that it?
That's it for me.
Okay, item 12, public comments on non-agenda items. We have one public. Non-agenda items.
Just thank you for the village council's donation to the fireworks this year. We
Introduce
received
yourself,
that.
please.
Courtney McLaren.
And who you're
DDA,
representing.
The DDA board.
Okay.
Thank you for the council's and the village's contribution to fireworks this year. We received that today, right? I got that notification. As for
And that was how much?
1,000.
Okay.
We are at roughly, got an email this afternoon, I don't have my phone over there, but I believe it's at $9,800 raised so far.
Good.
With
What's the
several-
goal? How much is the goal?
12,000, so we signed up for a $12,000 show.
What was last
So we
year's?
need 11, I believe, 10? 10. 10, because there's incidentals that come up, so I think we spent just over 11 last year. So we're expected, with a $12,000 show, we're expected to spend 13 and a half, somewhere in there after, portage on rentals and things like that. And also to update you, we are planning to have a food truck, 2 food trucks at the fireworks this year. And we've got hopefully a couple other food truck interesting ideas coming down the pipe.
Do we know locations yet of where you might
For the
find
food
those?
trucks? Not yet. I'm actually really pleased with the people who are coming in. They are very adamant that we do not place them anywhere near an open restaurant. I know last year, like, Frosted closed during the fireworks, which is kind of like mind blowing to me, and I don't know why they would have done that, but so that would be an instance of a closed food place, but they're very, serious about not infringing upon the existing businesses, which I found very considerate of them. So we're talking with the fire chief and trying to figure out a good location that'll be kind of central to the M15 corridor and the fireworks and everything. So everybody will have access.
And the official date is?
July 7th with a rain date of July 8th.
Thank you.
We figured that would be better than earlier in June. This way, people who go out of town for big fireworks can do that on the weekend before the 4th, which is when they're all scheduled for. And everybody will be home for the July 7th fireworks here in Ortonville.
Same location.
Mm-hmm, yep, same as always. I think I had something else, but after that,
Thank you, Courtney.
thank you.
Okay, items from trustees. Committee updates. You wanna?
Well, usually we kind of start down this end, so I attended the historical meeting, and of course, there was great discussion and much thanks, because they had already had their new water softener installed, and they were just waiting for the sink and the commode to be installed. So they're very, very thankful for that, and they asked me to thank the village manager for all of his help.
Fire board did not meet last month, but they are meeting tomorrow. Actually, we're going to be talking about a particular grant. It's called the Safer Grant. And I had to look it up because I didn't know what that was. But it is for staffing, for adequate fire and emergency response. It's a big deal for the fire department. It's worth a lot of money, grant-wise. And so we'll be discussing it tomorrow. And I'll be able to Bill and I can muddle through it for the next meeting. And I think Chief Guapas will be here also.
He's asking if we could approve, I think he's gonna ask us tomorrow, was it tomorrow we have the meeting?
Yes.
And then he's gonna ask us, in addition to the public hearing on the 11th, ask us to approve their plan, or approve the grant.
Their grant.
He will be here to explain it.
Thank you. Now we come to you.
Personnel committee will be meeting next week. We will be reviewing Bill Sprague's, our village manager's performance thus far. It's basically an overall review of how things are going, and so the
So what's his 90 days?
I believe, well, it's coming off a book, is it? Do you know when it
June
is?
5th.
So we're
I
gonna do this
defer.
next
It's
week.
somewhere in here.
We're gonna do this next week because there was schedules, conflicting
Well,
schedules.
now we can't.
Well, I'm hopeful that we can do that before. Have to be Friday.
Are you?
But anyways,
Prior to
plan was-
that, are you requesting any input from the rest of council?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, because we said that was the request, as we were going to mention the date, which may change, it's flexible, but we were also going to request any
So we might have
information,
to push
please
it to the following week now
email.
because of the budget workshop meeting.
Okay.
But certainly, all all comments are welcome from the Village Council trustees.
Okay, will do. Now,
The update I have would be from the Planning Commission. On April 25th, the goals and priorities questionnaire was sent out to all three entities, the DDA, the Planning Commission, and the Village Council. Each of them fill out their information. It all goes to Liz, right? All three entities are sending them back to you. Okay, I can't remember what the email said. Just please send them along to Liz once you've filled that out and completed that. Any questions, you can direct those to Bill, and Bill will help you out with that. The other thing was, as we've already kind of discussed loosely, the master plan visioning session open house, which will be held on June 28th from 12 to 8. And that will include 3 different activities. A big idea board will provide the residents with an opportunity to let them know what their ideas are for improving their village. Resource mapping, provide maps of the village for the public to look at. They'll be given icons and stickers, which Wayne had mentioned. They can place those on the map to identify improvements or new uses that they would like to see. The third item will be a visual preference board, and they'll take the ideas of the village council, other stakeholders, and develop, that were developed during the first meeting, and identify images that relate to those. The public will be able to identify which of those images that they are most interested in. We've received an email on May 15th, and attached would be the examples and the photos of what those boards might look like. So at your earliest convenience, get a chance to look at those. Again, I defer to Bill. If there's any questions or concerns or ideas for that event, please go ahead and email Bill. And I think that's all I have, besides the date. Okay.
So question, do you know what 43.5% completed of the master plan means?
No, besides the fact that it's completing of the information gathered, not the plan itself. It is not specifically the plan is, it is gathering of that information.
43.5% of the information gathered.
To have everything gathered that they need, not to be completed.
So there's nothing been completed, it's just 43.5% of the data collected. You're talking about data collection then?
It's all data collection so far, and contracts and data collection so far. They have not put, that I have seen, a pen to paper regarding changing anything in the master plan. You know, because you currently have a master plan in place.
And they haven't got to the point of evaluating.
Correct.
It's still data collection at this point.
okay. Any other questions? I have nothing, so we're all completed, I think, for our agenda. And we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Butts, supported by Councilman Price. Adjourn, all those in favor?
Aye.
Please say aye. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.